Hello everyone! In a regular pivot table, a filter always changes the grand total. For example, if I set the filter on sales reps, the grand total will display the numbers for a single visible salesperson. I would like to compare the performance of each salesperson to the team as a whole and to the total of all sales reps, even when the filter is set. But a regular pivot table recalculates the grand total based only on visible items, and there's no way to tell it to ignore the filter. A PowerPivot can help in such a situation. In a PowerPivot, you can have different calculations on the rows and in the grand total. The function that is commonly used for this in Power BI for PowerPivot is available on the Insider channel. So in this video, you will see a workaround. For my data model, I have the following tables. My fact table, which is called fact call sales, contains daily number of calls and sales for November and December of last year per sales rep and customer type. I also have a dimension table with the sales rep information called dim sales reps. The relationship between these two tables will be made using the sales rep ID column, which contains unique values in the dimension table and repeating values in the fact table. So this will be a one-to-many relationship. I also have a date column in the fact table, so I will add a proper date table as the second dimension later on. And ideally, I would also need a third dimension with customer information, but to keep the example simple, let's assume that the customer information is delivered in aggregated form to us and skip this dimension. The fact table shows how many calls made by the sales reps actually turn to sales. If you are using the PowerPivot for the first time and you don't see this tab on the ribbon, then go to the File tab, Options, and under Add-ins, in the Manage box, go to COM Add-ins and click Go. Then check Microsoft PowerPivot for Excel and click OK. Let's add both tables to the data model by clicking in them and in the PowerPivot tab, clicking Add to Data Model. As promised in the Design tab, let's add a proper date table. I explained in my previous video why it is best practice to use a proper date table in the data model. Let's create relationships between the fact table and the two-dimension tables. With the calendar table using the date column, and with the sales rep table using sales rep ID. Both of these relationships are one-to-many with unique values in the dimension tables and repeating values in the facts table, with dimension tables filtering the fact table. And let's add a pivot table from the data model. From the sales rep dimension table, I'm going to add the team and sales rep fields to the rows area. Also in the rows area, I'm going to add customer type from the fact table. Sales from the fact table should be added to the values area. In the PivotTable Analyze tab, let's add a slicer. Choose All Tables. The year and month fields will be from the calendar table, which is the proper date table, and from the sales rep dimension table, I will choose the field sales rep, which contains the names of the salespeople. Let's rearrange the slicers, and to fit all the salespeople on the screen and show you the grand total, I will select November as the month. I will also need subtotals. I need the numbers to be shown at the level of the team, the sales rep, and the grand total. But if I filter the sales rep, then all three numbers will be same. And these will be the numbers for the sales rep. So I need a measure that will ignore the sales rep filter at the level of the team and grand total. In the PowerPivot tab under Measures, let's add a new measure. And call it Sales Measure. The first variable, rep sales, will be a regular sum of sales. This variable is context sensitive with filter context coming from rows and slicers. The next variable, total sales, will calculate the sum of sales but will ignore the sales rep filter by wrapping it in the function all. We will also need to switch between these measures depending on the level in the report. Now in Power BI, we would use the function ISINSCOPE for this purpose. ISINSCOPE returns true when the column specified in its argument is the level in the hierarchy of levels. It detects the level used in the report, so that we could differentiate between the level of the sales rep and the other levels. In PowerPivot, this function is available on the Insider channel. So if you don't see it, you may have to wait for it. You can already see the IntelliSense marking it red in the formula. So we need to use something else. Let's go back to our sales measure. The official function for backward compatibility is HASONEVALUE. This function returns true if there is only one value in the specified column. So let's replace ISINSCOPE with HASONEVALUE in our measure, and let's actually check what HASONEVALUE will give back. With the sales rep column as its argument, depending on whether the filter is set on this column or not. If I resolve the sales rep filter, then HASONEVALUE will return the desired result. There's a single value at the level of the sales rep, and multiple values are on the levels of the team and grand total. But as soon as I make a selection in the sales rep slicer, HASONEVALUE only delivers true for all three levels. HASONEVALUE fails in this case because the slicer reduces the total to one value. So maybe has one value has to be evaluated while ignoring the sales rep filter. Let's go back to the sales measure. Right now, has one value is evaluated in the filter context provided by the fields in the rows area and the slicers. So let's add another variable to the measure. And evaluate has one value in filter context modified by wrapping the sales rep column in function all inside calculate. But now I have a different problem because of the way how the function calculate works. If I ignore the sales rep filter by using it as the filter argument of function calculate, this will overwrite the filter context provided by the rows, because I have the same field sales rep there too. So the function has one value will again deliver the same result for all three levels. As a solution, I need to separate the filter context coming from the slicer from the filter context provided by the field in the rows area. As an easy fix, I will duplicate the sales rep column because I still need the names of the people. Otherwise, using the sales rep ID column in the rows area would also be fine. And now I need to exchange the sales rep column in the rows area for the new one. Let's go back to the sales measure to finalize it. To get the correct sales numbers for each level, I need to use the countReps variable as the condition in the if function. I also need to change the order of the variables because countReps has to be calculated first. And the variable result has to be given back. And let's format the numbers. By the way, I don't need an extra calculation for the team level because team field still provides filter context in the rows, but not on the level of the grand total. Now the numbers correspond to their levels. We will need a similar measure for the number of calls. Let's copy the sales measure and adapt it for calls by changing the sales column to calls. And we will also need the conversion rate. To calculate the conversion rate, I just need to divide the two previous measures and format the numbers as percentages. The safe way to divide in DAX is to use function divide because it accounts for the denominator becoming 0. The three measures are now ready, and we can compare the performance of the salesperson based on conversion to the team that this person is in and to the grand total of all reps. And if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel not to miss part 2.